Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Breeze, Breezeway Productions' The Breeze, where we're excited to bring the first San Luis Obispo Film Festival filmmakers to you, showcasing some of the work that will be screening at this year's festival. And I'm excited to talk about the documentary feature film, the Road to Vrindavan. And we have director Ravinol Chambers and producer Ravin J. Ganatra. How are you guys?
Very
Good, thank
good.
you.
Thanks very
Great
much,
to be here.
Alex.
Very good. Thank you for joining me today. Tell me a little bit about the film that's screening at San Luis Obispo this year.
Well, as you say, it's a feature documentary. It's set on the backdrop of a road trip down the west coast of India, from Mumbai all the way down to the very tip of India where the three oceans meet. And it's a road trip in a convoy of tuk-tuks. So these are like three-wheel auto rickshaws, pretty precarious vehicles. But it has a much deeper purpose as well. It's actually to then visit a school 4 hours south of Delhi, a girls' school. And it's in a village called Vrindavan. Now, the interesting thing is I actually lived in Vrindavan 20 years ago as a monk. I was a monk in my 20s. And I received this phone call from my producer, Ravin, who was a kind of a loose acquaintance at that time. We've become good friends since. And he said, "Do you want to come on this crazy road trip with me? And afterwards, we're going to go and visit this school." And I was like, wow, of course I do. It's a great adventure, but it's also get to go back to Vrindavan. And also, he told me the school was like a really amazing school. And I didn't know much about the reason why girls in India face a lot of challenges compared to boys to get into education, but also to stay in education. So I figured if I took a crew with me, we could talk to people on the ground as we traveled across India and speak to them and hear in their own words what the reasons were. So that's kind of how it started. And then there's a few more parts to it as it unfolds. But I'll let maybe Ravin speak to the next bit.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ravin.
Yeah, so that was the first part. It was a road trip. It was an adventure, and we came back, and Ravinol put together this wonderful trailer, and it went out on all social media platforms. Ravinol's very good on the social media, unlike me, but it got a lot of good response. But unfortunately, there were some minor criticisms, and this has happened to me now twice. One time, a few years back, I was working on another project, which was a project, a feminist project, I would say. And my colleague at that time got the same criticism. Why are two men telling the story of women? What right do you have? And my initial response to that is, well, I have the same right as Richard Attenborough had to tell Gandhi's story, or, whoever it was who directed the Mandela story. I can't remember if that was Attenborough as well. So Ravinol had sort of taken this to heart and decided, actually, we have to tell the story from a different angle. And the angle was, what part have boys and men got to play in this? Yeah. It's all very well you educate a girl today, but if we haven't changed the mindsets, or if we haven't explored why that mindset isn't being changed of the boys, then the status quo remains. Yeah. And I think a lot of the issues raised in this film, and I was very clear with Ravinol, what I didn't want to do is make a film complaining about India. I'm Indian. I'm very proud of my Indian heritage. I'm quite political. I love to think that India is probably going to be one of the world number two. It's going to overtake the USA very soon as well. But that's just my possibility.
Strong words.
Fighting talk there.
Strong words. Give it 10 years and we will talk. But I wanted to make sure that this film isn't a film complaining about India. It's raising issues which I think are relevant today. And we've seen it in the UK today. There's been this tragic murder of a young lady last week, and it's just come out in the press. She was followed home at 8 o'clock in the evening, not particularly late, but the whole debate has now centered around why women are feeling so unsafe on the streets. Yeah. Why is it that they can't walk down the street without being harassed or
What was the statistic that you guys said in the film, that once every
every 20 minutes
every 20
minutes
every 20 minutes?
Yeah. And it's also interesting I learned about the culture while watching your film, stuff that you go around the world. Also, you were in New York talking with someone of the Indian descent, and that you were seeing the success they were able to have here in America, but then when you're in India, you're talking to somebody who I thought it was also interesting when they had a mother of a child come to bring her back in the middle of the night to do farming. Like, while you caught that on camera, saying that they're not allowed to have this type of privilege or ability to do these things. So do you want to talk a little bit more about that, about how restrictive India is towards the women in its culture, saying that the parents just want a boy? If it's a woman, like if it's a boy, they get salary, they get all of these gifts and things. If it's a woman, then they're like frowned upon. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that and they showcase that to American audiences? Because it was new to me to learn about it because of your film.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think the thing is that somehow or other, over time, it's become a situation where it's sort of self-perpetuating. So oftentimes it might have started even from poverty. So for example, let's say there's poverty in rural India and they don't have enough money to send both the girl and the boy to school. So they see the boy as an asset because he's going to stay in the family. So they invest in him. So the girl is seen as a liability because she will leave the family and marry into a different family. So there's a sort of a balance sheet economic things going on, thinking that actually, if we don't really have enough and we have to invest in one, we'll invest in the boy. And then the boy sees that I get looked after and the girl doesn't. So he sort of thinks and believes growing up, I'm more important and she's less important. So you can see how quickly over a couple of generations, this kind of ideas sets in. But the reason that the girls have less opportunity is, one is poverty, another is fear of boys, getting mixed up with boys, because the reputation of the family is very much sort of on the idea that the girl won't mix with boys until she's married. Now, obviously, in the modern day, that's really unrealistic, I guess. And one of the ways that they kind of try and protect that is basically just keep the girls in.
Yeah.
So, which is not really a solution, is it? I mean, in one sense, it's a solution, but it's a very sort of short-term solution. It's not really bearing in mind the girls and their feelings about it. And so, but the thing is that a lot of the international development money, there's billions, if not trillions of pounds going into international development, and girls' education is really on the agenda. It's big. It's very popular. But what I feel our film offers, which is unique or different from another film about girls' education, is stressing on this point that actually if we do not engage the men and the boys, and if we don't work with them to change their mindset or to help them on the journey, not to blame them, but to kind of support them in this change, then it's not really going to change. I mean, you mentioned Shika Uberoy in New York, right? She said something to me which blew my mind. She said, you can empower someone into isolation. So imagine the girl is getting the education, she feels special, she's like, wow, maybe there's more possible in my life than I thought previously. But then the environment around her doesn't change and the people who are making decisions about her life don't change. She's kind of almost worse off than she was before, right? And so that criticism about us doing it as a man became a blessing because we leaned right into that. And we thought, yeah, actually, the strength of us making this film as men is that this is not a woman's issue. It's everyone's issue. If we want to tackle
culture
issues,
issue. Yeah.
it's a culture issue. It's a societal
it's the entire
issue.
population's issues to deal with.
Exactly.
Did you have any
Ravinol,
comment on that, Ravin? Yeah.
Yeah. So some of the points you mentioned there, some of those cultural norms, that what we call norms. If you look at India, the majority of the population, I think 60%, live on less than $1 a day. So poverty is there. So where's the opportunity for education? The children go straight to work at the age of 8, 9, 10 because they need the income as a family. But some of those norms are driven by the poverty. So the culture doesn't change. But still, in Western societies, in any orthodox religious society, we still see some of those negative viewpoints towards women, that women are less intelligent, that women shouldn't go out to work. There are some religious communities who I know of who don't believe women should have a career or an education beyond, year 12, grade 12. That they shouldn't aspire, that the man should be the one who protects and looks after. It's not that alien, those sort of thoughts, even in Western cultures. So I think, yes, we focused on India because that was our opportunity to do this, and the film evolved. But I think the world has a lot to learn collectively. And this isn't going to happen just by isolating, well, this is a woman's issue and this is a man's issue. We need to really bring the two camps together and start discussing. in the UK, just today, I was on Radio 4, which is, one of the big BBC Radio 4. They were discussing about how men can be allies to women. Here we are in 2021, and we're questioning, what can I do? I mean, I thought it was automatic. I thought I am already an ally, but now I'm being asked, and I'll do it. I'll do it. This is what I'm going to do to be an ally to a woman. For example, if I see a woman walking down the street, I will cross the road. Now, my wife and I argued about this today. She said, that's patronizing.
Well, can I make a point on this?
We're having this debate. It's open now.
Go ahead, Ravinol.
Can I make a point on this? I agree, but I think we have to be very careful, because I think when we talk about men being allies to women, sometimes it can sound patronizing, or like, poor little women, we need to look out for them, and like we should sort of be kind to them, and sort of like a charity kind of idea that men are giving them. I don't see it like that at all. I see it that actually, when we seek to understand whether it's women or anyone who's different from us, we obviously want to arrive at a point of respect, like proper respect. And when you have proper respect for somebody, there's no kind of, I'm doing you a kind of a favor, or what I mean? I'm sort of right. like so the behavior changes genuinely. Right. And it's very interesting. Like my hope for the film was always that people wouldn't externalize it, they would internalize it. And my wife has a line in the film which is kind of ironic. She says, here he is traveling around the world looking at gender equality, and we in our own marriage realized that we have totally gender stereotypes. Yeah. And so we had a chat about that,
Yeah, I understand. I thought the film was very well displayed. I learned a lot from it, so it was educational for me. And in conclusion, is there anything that you'd like to say to the San Luis Obispo Film Festival in regards to the acceptance and screening of your film, Road to Vrindavan?
Yeah, I would like to say it was actually the first film festival we got selected for.
World premiere, hey.
Yeah. Well, and we put it as a USA premiere, but yeah, we were over the moon. We were really chuffed and grateful that they selected the film, and thanks to you as well for asking us some questions about it.
Of course, I very much enjoyed it.
Yeah, we're saddened that we're not meeting in person. We would have loved to have had that personal experience with all these film festivals,
especially in California.
Especially in California, we were so looking forward to it. But thank you very much to everyone at SLO for the nomination, for putting us up there. Yeah, it's been our joy to be involved.
I love San Luis Obispo. It's a wonderful place. It's gorgeous, Central California. It's green, lush mountains, and it's very nice and relaxing. A beautiful town and a fantastic film festival. So I wanted to say congratulations to both of you on screening there this year. And I hope that your film's message can get out to audiences and showcase it to the world, and things change for the better for women's rights in India and worldwide. So again, thank you, Ravinol and Ravin, and we hope that you check out the film Road to Vrindavan. So
thank you, Alex.
You guys have a wonderful festival.
Thank you, man.
Bye, everyone.